Yo, and welcome back to the channel for today's video, and I'm going to be making a very interesting one. I am watching Optic Scumpy back in the day, Black Ops 2, because obviously the port just got released. I've been playing it a lot, and I thought, what way to improve? No, that's not English. What's a better way to improve than watch it? That's still not English, but we're going to go with it. Basically, I wanted to watch the best player in the game, Optic Scumpy, in his prime. And instead of just watching his gameplay and analyzing, I actually got some notes from himself, right? I looked at his videos, all of his videos in Black Ops 2 where he talks about getting better. And here are some digestible tips that we could use. Some of them will apply now to current Call of Duty, but also for you guys enjoying the Black Ops 2 and Black Ops 1 port, okay? So, number one is going to be your aim. That's the biggest thing people talk about, right? And what his biggest point there was practice over anything, okay? So one of the biggest mistakes people make is constantly changing their settings. Scump's advice on this was stop searching for the perfect sensitivity and just play more. Now, this is a very interesting topic because he also says you want to find a sensitivity and then just basically master it. So for this game, he's 5.5, and he's saying, like, if you change it, it could mess up your aim, because let's say you got up to 8.8, right? It messes up your aim, you don't feel great, then you go down to 3.3. Like, you need to allow your muscle memory to kick in. You need to allow it to just get time to get used to it. So stick to a sensitivity. I'm going to say 5.5, and just, honestly, just stick to it. The more consistent your settings are, the faster you build that muscle memory, okay? I think that's the biggest thing. If you're changing your sense every day, your aim will never get a chance to settle. So pick it, feel comfortable, stick with it, and repeat. Now, this doesn't mean pick a bad sensitivity like 12-12 and just keep going. Pick something logical, right? 5.5 allowed you to have good snap, really good centering, and then just try and master it. That's what I would really recommend, okay? So 5.5 is fast enough to snap onto people, but not, you know, too fast where you can't center onto people. So I would say that's one of the biggest things. The next thing he talks about, and I think this is very interesting, is your controller. He actually speaks about this quite a lot. And I think the biggest thing with your controller is making sure it's comfortable, making sure it's, like, this is so silly, right? But it's so accurate. Your controller is your equipment. It's your tool, right? Think of sports. It's your shoes, your equipment, like what you're using to basically control the game, right? So clean your controller, look after it, make sure the sticks are clean, make sure they don't feel dirty, make sure they don't feel too loose or too tight. Like, make sure the controller feels good. And it might be worth investing in a controller, right? Just looking after your equipment, because your controller is everything. Making sure it's wired, making sure you have the right settings, like just making sure that you're on the front foot to be able to play properly. That's the biggest thing, okay? He says use paddles or claw. You need one of them. Now, some people kind of play default stick and move and stuff. You can do that, but I think just using paddles is the best way. Claw isn't great for your hands long term, so I wouldn't recommend it personally. I would say using paddles, right? If you're going to play the game, invest in a controller with paddles and just really utilize what the paddles give you, okay? So this is one of the most important distinctions in this game. We know there's not a lot of movement in Black Ops 2 compared to, say, Black Ops 7, right? With normally movement. So one thing I find interesting by going back to it is using the meta movement, okay? So in this game, he speaks specifically about the jump shots over the drop shots. Now, what I noticed in this one and what he talks about is in older Call of Duties like MW3, again, this is from his perspective, so this is Black Ops 2, the year before was MW3, the drop shot was very strong. Now, he says in this game, the jump shot is a lot better. Now, I want to go for two things. One is the reason. So the reason why the drop shot isn't as good in this game is because you get a lot of, like, sway when you drop shot. Your gun doesn't feel as smooth, so it's just not as valuable. Can you do it? Yes. Can you still use it? Yes, but it's not the optimum movement. You want to really prioritize a jump shot and then go for the drop shot, you know, in certain scenarios. But the reason I found this interesting and how we can apply it to today is a lot of people, they just use one, what they're comfortable with, or two, what they prefer, right? Now, that's not bad. And his advice is actually, you know, use what you're comfortable with. But where I'm going to differentiate a little bit here is I think you should find what the best players use. Find the meta and master that. So, for example, if you're playing Black Ops 2 now, but you love drop shotting, you might be nerfing yourself. If the drop shot's just not as good, I think you should go with what is best, and that's the jump shot. And I think we apply that to latest Call of Duties, and it's basically learning what the pros do, learning what the best mechanic is, and trying to master it. I think it's very important, okay? And the reason why the jump shot's so good in this game is because of the lack of movement in general. When you jump shot, you actually have a little bit of strafe, so it's a lot harder for your opponents to track you, which is why I think it's really good, because you get like a mid-air strafe, and that's what Scump talks about as well, and it just makes the enemies struggle with hitting one or two shots, allows you to get that advantage, okay? The next thing, and I think this still applies today, pre-firing corners. If you know someone's about to come through a corner, Don't wait to react. Start shooting before they appear. In Black Ops 2, landing those first 1 or 2 bullets will result in you winning the gunfight most of the time. It still applies nowadays, but it's even more apparent back then because of the lack of movement. If you get the first 2 shots, they're not able to just finesse out. They're not able to just slide away, right? So if you get the first 2 shots, you're going to win that gunfight most of the time, unless you really fumble the rest of it. So it's really, really important. The next thing is positioning. Don't just blind rush, okay? You can't just sprint forward every life, especially on maps like Nuketown. He actually has a separate video which I analyzed talking about Nuketown specifically and what you do. And that's a really good mindset, again, going into the future. People just want to like run. You have to have strategies based on the maps. So maps like Nuketown, and this is where I think he made a really good point. If you can kind of hold power positions, and I love this point that you mentioned, play slow until you get like the orbital VSAT. And I really love that insight because everyone thinks of Scump and aggressive players like they just run it down. But his insight was very, very important because I realized like he actually doesn't just run it down. He plays the power positions, right? He plays smart. When he gets the VSAT, you're seeing it on the screen right now, he basically then has the green light to be aggressive. So if you're playing Black Ops 2, and you feel like you don't know where they are, like play a bit slower, get that orbital VSAT, right? Once you have that VSAT, if you guys don't know what the VSAT is, you see it on the screen here, it's this streak here, and it basically gives you a UAV permanently, you know exactly where the enemies are. It's super strong. And then with that, you can then play more aggressive because you have the freedom of knowing where everyone is. Very, very important, okay? Another thing is resetting instead of ego chowing. If you lose control, don't just ego chow everything. Back up, hold an angle, slow the game down, and retake the control properly. Really, really important, okay? If you're outnumbered, just run, reposition. Staying alive is often more valuable than forcing the trade, because if you can keep the map control and give yourself another chance, you'll win the next fight, okay? And again, same to the point earlier, earn your VSAT. Don't sprint around like a headless chicken when you're close to streaks. Play controlled, earn the VSAT. Once you get that, you can then take over the lobby. Once you have the VSAT, the whole game opens up. It allows you to then run it down. So think of Nuketown, right? A lot of times, myself included, I'm trying to get to their base to spawn trap and be annoying, but there's so many variables that can go wrong. So sometimes you're better off actually slowing down, getting the VSAT, then getting into their base. Because once you're there, you could spawn trap more effectively having the information. I really like that point, okay? The meta. This is another point that he mentions a lot. If you think about Scumpy, right, the best player in the game, let's just say he is, because I think he was, or one of, anyways. He's talking about using the strongest weapons, right? So this is his point. SMGs and ARs. He's like, there are certain guns that are just better than others. And paying attention to that is very important. Now, you will find that nowadays by looking at just builds and loadouts and seeing what people use. But just in general, if you find a weapon, like let's say you have a fight with someone and you're using a weapon that's not as strong and you notice they kill you in a fight that you seemed very fair, then that weapon just might be stronger. So it's just using the meta weapons, the meta attachments. And I think that's so relevant to today as well. If you're trying to pub stomp and be annoying, I think you should use the best stuff. And this is where you have to differentiate between some people want to just have fun and like use the builds that they want to. That's fine. You definitely can do that, right? End of the day, you're enjoying the video game. If that's what you want to do, go for it. But if you're trying to get nukes, you're trying to be the best and trying to like pub stomp, for example, then use the best stuff. Have the best resources. So if you're using a submachine gun, use the MSMC, the PDW, the Vector. If you're using an AR, use the M8, use the AN94, use the strongest stuff so that when you have those gunfights with other people, you already are putting yourself in an advantageous position by using the best of the best, okay? A big thing he mentions is attachments, okay? So for, again, certain weapons have certain attachments that help them. So just kind of studying the game a little bit more, seeing what people use against you, etc., what works. So for like the MSMC, he says long barrel was quite useful. For the PDW, it felt like it wasn't as useful. So don't just blindly use attachments. Every gun has its own strengths and weaknesses, and the attachments tailor towards that, right? So just trying to find what works, not only for you, but what's the meta. And I think that's the biggest thing. Don't just say, what do I like? Say, what do I like, and how can I make it the strongest? I think that's very, very important. Same for the ARs. He says, right, stock is a non-negotiable. You need stock. I mentioned this in my videos as well. Stock is so good because of that, like what it provides, the strafe speed. So using the best of the best and the most broken things is very, very important, okay? The next thing is suppressors. He mentions how suppressors are very useful, especially in pre-firing and stuff, but some weapons aren't as good with a suppressor. I know it's like guns like the MAA1, right? I'm not going to use a suppressor on it. It just doesn't feel as good. And I feel like things like that are very important. Again, not to just blindly follow attachments across all weapons. Realize what weapon you have, what playstyle you're using with that weapon, and what gets the biggest strength from it. Very, very important, okay? The main thing I noticed from Scump's video, I thought he was talking more about aiming tips and stuff. That wasn't really what he spoke about. It was very interesting. It was mainly about preparation. It was things to do to get you in that moment. And he didn't really talk about specific aims or like tricks. It was really just like setting yourself up for success and then actually playing the game a lot, getting the reps in. And I felt like it was a very interesting perspective because I really thought he was going to talk about like different tips and tricks. As a coach myself, I was looking at that like, okay, what is he going to speak about? What specifics? But it wasn't actually specifics. He felt like just be comfortable and actually just enjoy the game and play a lot of it, but set yourself up, have the strongest essentially suit so that when you go into it, your controller's looking good, you're tuned, you're ready, your sensor's good, you have the best weapon. And then from that point, it's about practice, adjusting your pacing to the game, and then just basically being in the moment. And I think it's really good because if you put it all together, it becomes less of like random tips and tricks, but it actually becomes a very simple setup. And simple is sometimes the best. And that's what I found from watching and listening to Scumpy. Again, the VSAT is something really important because once he gets that streak, you see he gets a bit more aggressive, allows him to get the K9 unit, the Warthog, stuff like that. And with that, you're able to then, you know, chain the nuclears. So just being smart with your power positions as well. I notice he doesn't just run and challenge 5 people at once. Let's see right now, for example. He's like taking gunfights one by one. He's isolating the opponents because having gunfights one by one is a lot easier than having, say, 1v5. Like right now, look, this is the 1v1. He goes through, he gets that kill, repositions. You see this, look, there's a couple of people he backs. I mean, he doesn't back away there, but he ends up dying. That's a perfect example. Just kind of playing your range, backing away, being smart. And that's what I noticed a lot about Scumpy. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know what you guys think about it. Anything you want to see for the next one. We're going to do a lot of Black Ops 2 content because I'm really enjoying the game. I also have a COD guide. So that guide is updated regularly. If you guys want to check it out, the link is down below. I'm actually going to add some Black Ops 2 stuff because I think it'll be cool as well. Once you get the guide once as a one-off purchase, you have it forever. So MW4 is coming out, we're going to add on to there. And it's also loads of generic, general Call of Duty stuff to help you get better for Warzone, multiplayer, competitive. It's something I'm working on all the time to get better and better and better. So pick it up now. You have access to it forever. Exclusive videos, all that good stuff. And yeah, if you want personalized coaching as well, right? Whether it's Black Ops 2, Black Ops 7, Warzone, you can see the Discord link down below. Make a coaching ticket, super simple to do. Or DM me, right, for coaching. And you have a one-on-one coaching session with me where we go through, help you get better, help you tune everything to your gameplay, and just become a better Call of Duty player. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Drop a like, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys for another video later on this week. Peace.